Welcome to Bayanat, the heartbeat of tech in MENA. We bring you raw stories and sharp insights from the founders, investors, and leaders building the region's startup ecosystem. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something really interesting, how technology is actually making climate action, well, accessible and impactful for businesses here in MENA. We're looking at this through one founder's story.
That's right. We're focusing on Carbon Cipher, which was founded by Onur Elgun. And our mission, really, is to unpack how they're using tech to cut through the complexity, make climate action faster and easier for businesses in the region.
Which sounds crucial. I mean, everyone talks about sustainability, but how do you actually do it without getting totally bogged down? This seems relevant for founders, VCs, anyone in tech here.
Absolutely. So let's start with Onur's background.
Yeah.
He's got deep roots here, moved to the Middle East way back in 2007, spent time at BCG, and then this is key, he was VP of Strategy at Talabat from 2019.
Talabat, okay, so food delivery, groceries,
Okay.
What's the connection there?
Well, he was central to that big shift Talabat made, right? From just food delivery to this huge multi-vertical app. And the big takeaway for him was pretty fundamental. If you want people, or in this case businesses, to adopt something new.
You gotta make it easy.
Exactly. Super accessible, super convenient, remove the friction. He saw that firsthand.
Okay, makes sense.
And he's basically applying that exact same principle to climate action. His belief is, look, businesses aren't going to seriously tackle decarbonization if it feels like this separate, massive, complicated burden.
Yeah, another thing on the to-do list that doesn't help the bottom line.
Precisely. It has to be, one, convenient, and two, it absolutely needs to link back to their core business objectives. It can't be siloed off.
So it needs to feel integrated, almost natural to how they operate.
That's the idea, and that's where Carbon Cipher comes in. Even the name, right? Cipher, it's Arabic for zero. Points straight to the zero emissions goal. Their whole mission is making climate action accessible and impactful.
Okay, accessible and impactful. Let's break that down. What does Carbon Cipher actually do for a company?
So the core service is helping businesses measure their carbon emissions, figure out how to reduce them, and then manage that whole process. But it's also about connecting the dots, coordinating with suppliers, banks, government bodies, everyone involved.
Got it. Measure, reduce, manage, and kind of connect the ecosystem. So let's start with measure, because that sounds like the first big hurdle, right? Traditionally, it's a nightmare.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredibly data heavy. And historically, yeah, it's super manual. You're trying to scrape together data from utility bills for your buildings, travel records, what you're buying from suppliers.
All over the place, probably in different formats.
Exactly. Spreadsheets, PDFs, maybe even paper invoices still. And the sheer amount of data, well, the source gives this example, a company doing maybe, say, $2 million to $10 million in revenue.
Yeah, like a typical SME size.
Right. That size company can generate over 15 million data points a year just related to its carbon footprint.
But wait, 15 million data points just for carbon stuff.
15 million. Trying to collect, clean, calculate all that using Excel.
Yeah.
It's just overwhelming for most businesses. They don't have the resources or the expertise.
Wow. Okay, yeah, I can see why that's a massive blocker. So this is where the tech solution comes in to smooth things out. How does Carbon Cipher actually do it?
This is where it gets really interesting. They've built their platform using Llama technology.
Llama, like Meta's big AI model, you're using that for carbon data.
Yeah, seems surprising, but it's clever. Instead of forcing businesses to crunch their data into some rigid template, Carbon Cipher says, just give us what you have. Upload your PDF bills, your Excel procurement sheets, whatever format.
Seriously, no reformatting.
No reformatting needed. Or it can plug directly into their existing ERP systems if they have them. The whole point is eliminating that initial data friction.
Okay, that alone sounds like a game changer. What happens then?
Then the AI engine kicks in. It reads the documents, it cleans up the data, which is a huge task. You know how messy internal data can be.
Oh yeah, inconsistent, missing bits.
Totally. So it cleans it, structures it, and then crucially, it maps that data to the right emission factors.
Emission factors. Remind me what those are again.
They're basically the standard conversion rates.
Yeah.
Like how much CO2 equivalent is emitted per kilowatt hour of electricity, or per mile flown, or per ton of steel produced. They turn your activity data like we used X electricity into an actual carbon number.
Gotcha. So the AI cleans the mess and does the math using these standard factors.
Exactly. And it's designed to work across different sectors, hospitality, manufacturing, F&B, whatever. It doesn't need heavy customization for each industry, which is key for scaling in a diverse place like MENA.
That sounds super efficient. Is it purely AI doing this, or is there a human check?
Good question. There's a human element. They have climate scientists who review the outputs. They look for anomalies, things that seem off, and basically provide that expert validation layer on top of the AI's processing power.
Right, so tech efficiency plus human expertise. And is it all based on recognized standards?
Yeah, it follows the Greenhouse Gas Protocol, the GHG protocol. That's the main international standard, so the results are credible and comparable.
Okay, and I saw that little note in the source at the time. Carbon Zipper was the only climate tech company actually mentioned on Llama's own website.
Yeah, it kind of highlights how novel their application of that AI is for this specific problem.
Yeah.
But even with this slick measurement tool, there's another big challenge. Data gaps.
Data gaps. Like just missing information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially for what they call Scope 3 emissions, the indirect ones, often hidden in your supply chain. Procurement's a classic case. Say you buy, I don't know, blueberries.
Okay, blueberries.
Yeah, just as an example, your record says blueberries, but where did they come from? Were they grown locally or flown in from South America? Without knowing the origin, you can't accurately calculate the transport emissions, right?
The blueberry problem,
Yeah.
right. And if you don't have the full picture, you can't really figure out how to improve it.
You got it. Huge barrier. So Carbon Zipper uses another layer of AI for this, data enrichment.
Okay, how does AI fill in blanks like country of origin?
It's pretty smart. If a record's incomplete, the platform sends out like AI agents to try and find the missing pieces. They cross-reference what little info there is, maybe the supplier name against Carbon Zipper's own local database.
And they have a lot of local data.
Apparently, yeah. The source says Onur mentioned they've captured something like 80% of the supply chain data for the UAE's food and beverage and tourism sectors.
80% for F&B and tourism in the UAE. Wow, that's specific and powerful for this region.
It gives their AI a really strong starting point for filling those gaps locally. And if that database doesn't have the answer,
Yeah, what then?
it can even analyze public trade data like UAE import records to deduce the likely origin based on common trade patterns for that product or supplier.
Okay, so they're using multiple angles, internal data, their own database, public data, to build a much clearer picture, even from messy starting points.
Exactly. It's about turning that incomplete data into something you can actually use, which is vital for moving from just measuring to actually reducing.
Right, which leads us to the so what phase. You've filled the gaps. Now what? How do you actually cut emissions?
Yeah, measurement is just step one. The job's not done. Carbon Zipper then moves into automated reduction recommendations.
Automated. Does that mean it tells you to completely change your business?
Not usually radical stuff. It looks for high-impact areas, often in procurement, like the example in the source. A hotel buying lots of beef from Brazil, which has a high footprint.
Okay.
The recommendation isn't likely to be stop serving beef. It's more like, here are lower emission alternatives. Maybe source it from a closer country or from a supplier using more sustainable farming methods.
Ah, so practical options that don't necessarily disrupt the core operation. Find a better way to get what you need.
Exactly. Different supplier, maybe same supplier but lower carbon product line, different transport, things that reduce emissions without forcing a fundamental business model change.
And can the business see the potential savings? Like if we switch from supplier A to supplier B, our footprint drops by X.
Yes, the platform lets you model those changes. It also highlights your highest emitting suppliers, so you know who to talk to first about sustainability. And it offers benchmarking, like comparing your energy use per square meter to similar businesses.
Okay, so measure easily, fix data gaps, get practical reduction advice. But making changes costs money sometimes. Does it help with funding?
It does. That's another key piece they've built in. They connect businesses with partner banks for green financing.
How does that work? Is it just an introduction?
It's more integrated. The platform basically packages up the company's carbon data and their planned reduction projects in a way that banks specializing in sustainable finance can easily understand and evaluate. It smooths the path to getting loans or investments specifically for those green initiatives.
Okay, so it helps bridge that gap between needing funds for sustainability and finding the banks that offer them.
Right, and the source calls it a win-win. The business gets the cash to implement the solutions and lower their footprint. The bank gets to fund green projects, which helps them reduce their own financed emissions. The emissions tied to their loan book helps everyone meet their targets.
That's clever. Connects the operational side with the financial side.
It really ties it all together. And for Onur, this isn't just about building a successful tech company. It ties back to a deeper commitment to the MENA region.
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
He's really passionate about giving back, but also about changing the narrative. He feels the region often gets unfairly painted just as a source of emissions.
I can see that perception exists.
But he believes MENA has huge potential to actually become a leader in climate action, to innovate and show the world how it's done.
That's a really positive vision. How does Carbon Cipher fit into that leadership picture?
By giving businesses here the tools to do it, making decarbonization practical, measurable, linked to business success. The idea is to empower MENA companies to take real steps using cutting-edge tech developed right here.
So turning the region into an innovation hub for sustainability.
Exactly. Proving that MENA can lead globally on tackling climate change, not just follow. It's about leveraging local tech talent for global challenges.
It really shows how tech can break down these huge, complex problems like climate action into something manageable, even, dare I say, convenient for businesses.
Yeah, it takes it from being this niche, painful compliance thing to just another part of running a smart, efficient, modern business using data.
Okay, so as you're listening and thinking about all this, here's something to chew on. If measuring and managing your carbon footprint becomes as normal and accessible for a business as, say, doing its daily accounts, how much faster could that push climate action forward, not just here in MENA, but everywhere?
That's a powerful thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe the biggest blocker wasn't just willingness, but the sheer difficulty. If tech removes that difficulty, well, the potential for change speeds up dramatically.
For more stories like this, subscribe to Bayanaut's newsletter and stay updated on the latest in MENA's tech and startup ecosystem.